On the left, an everyday act of kindness, handing over groceries. On the right, that moment is mathematically deconstructed by a multi-agent AI. Why does a local volunteer in Aktobe, sweating under the physical weight of aid packages, need their actions cryptographically verified on a blockchain? The answer comes down to how we build trust. To prove groceries reached a family, we rely on human intermediaries. These intermediaries slow things down, they carry human biases, and occasionally commit fraud. Because that human element doesn't scale, our entire pipeline for moving resources from A to B hits a massive bottleneck. We simply cannot verify the truth of an action fast enough without a middleman. This exact same bottleneck fractures massive global supply chains. Corporate ESG programs and billion-dollar aid funds lose immense amounts of capital to institutional fraud and greenwashing, simply because they cannot accurately track the final mile of their funding. Society's current workaround is to hire massive global accounting firms to manually check the receipts. This chart shows the escalating cost and time delays of those manual human audits plotted against the immediate speed of an algorithmic check. While people wait weeks for an audit report to clear, physical resources sit idle. That is the exact problem the ProtoQol infrastructure solves. We are removing the manual bureaucrats and corporate black boxes from the equation entirely. For civilization to distribute resources efficiently at scale, we require a system where the truth of an event is mathematically computed, rather than socially negotiated. The entry point for this system is totally frictionless. A volunteer simply opens the QAIRYM Telegram mini app on their phone. The app operates on a zero-trust architecture. It strictly blocks any file uploads from the phone's camera roll, killing the ability to submit spoofed or recycled photos from past deliveries. This diagram illustrates what happens when the shutter clicks. The live camera stream captures the visual canvas while synchronously pulling just-in-time GPS coordinates, locking that metadata directly into the image capture. Then comes the final physical security layer. The recipient of the aid must physically provide a secret 4-digit code, like 7777, to the volunteer to complete an OTP handshake. Through strict hardware constraints and a required physical handshake, the real-world event is digitized and sealed against human tampering before the audit even begins. This network diagram outlines the Council of Bias. It is a 4-agent adversarial AI swarm powered by Gemini 2.0 Flash that completely replaces the human auditor. The first node is the auditor. It strictly checks spatial reality, confirming the phone was within a 100-meter radius of the delivery target and actively counting the required items in the photo. The second node acts as the skeptic. It hunts for fraud by running deepfake detection, looking for Photoshop traces, and analyzing the metadata for anomalies. The third node is the social buy. It evaluates the ethical impact of the volunteer's report, calculating an aura score, while actively penalizing clout-chasing behaviors, like exploiting the faces of the recipients. Finally, all that data hits the master buy. It synthesizes the internal debate from the other 3 nodes and locks in a definitive binary verdict, ADAL for honest or ARAM for a lie. This adversarial debate executes flawlessly in under 5 seconds. A human auditing team would take 3 weeks to do the exact same amount of work. But how do you trust an AI's decision? ProtoQol uses a glass box approach. The entire internal debate of the swarm is fully transparent and publicly auditable. This graphic shows the cryptographic settlement layer. When the swarm reaches an ADAL verdict, the complete log of its internal dialogue and the mission data compress into a single, unique 64-character SHA-256 integrity hash. That hash is then permanently anchored to the Solana blockchain, making the record of that decision completely immutable. The smart contract then triggers and mints a non-transferable soul-bound token directly to the volunteer's digital wallet. This mathematically proves their social reputation on the ledger. ProtoQol doesn't clog the blockchain by storing photos. It uses the ledger to store the immutable cryptographic truth of the action itself. When you build a system that computes truth this efficiently, its applications extend far beyond our current logistics networks. The protocol does not care if it is distributing bags of groceries in Kazakhstan or verifying oxygen tank allocations on a lunar outpost. The mathematical problem of verifying scarce resources remains exactly the same. In extreme off-world environments, the stakes are absolute. A slow bureaucracy, corporate greenwashing, or a simple human auditing error is fatal. As civilization scales into these extreme frontiers, we can no longer afford human intermediaries. We fundamentally require a system where where truth is computed natively. ProtoQol operates as a foundational infrastructure primitive designed to establish trustless resource distribution anywhere humans exist. It takes the ancient analog traditions of the steppe, the nomadic virtues of mutual aid, and executes them through the cold logic of a decentralized network. The deliveries happening right now in October are merely a testing ground, and this architecture has no final deployment. The protocol demonstrates that the integrity of a human deed can finally be decoupled from human bias, allowing the ancient practice of mutual aid to scale within a decentralized machine.